Good morning. So today we're going to be looking at the people management unit again. So on our previous sessions, we looked at learning outcome 1, where we were looking at understanding how structure, culture, and other factors impact on people in organizations. So we looked at the 3 assessment criteria for there. Then we looked at learning outcome 2, understand how to manage individuals and teams in order to achieve sustainable business performance. And we looked at the 2 pass criteria, 1 merit criteria, and 1 distinction criteria. Today, we're going to be focusing on learning outcome 3, understand how to develop individuals and teams in order to achieve sustainable business performance. Now, we have 3 assessment criteria on here. 3.1 is the pass criteria. So analyze the different training and development approaches used by organizations to attract, develop, improve individuals and teams. Then we've got the merit criteria, which is assess the effect of incentives and rewards on the development of individuals and teams. And then we have the distinction criteria, assess the contribution of the application of motivational theories on the development of individuals and teams. Now, it's entirely up to you what sort of grading structure you go for. As you're aware, we do a pass, merit, and distinction. If you were to want to just go for the pass, then you just need to complete every single pass question in here within this unit. For the merit, you will need to complete every pass and every merit question. And for the distinction, you need to complete every single question. So pass all the passes, all the merits, and all the distinctions. So we'll make our way to the PowerPoint for today's session. Just be a moment while it loads. And here it is. So learning outcome 3 for the people management unit, understand how to develop individuals and teams in order to achieve sustainable business performance. So we're going to just look at a little bit of an overview before we start looking at the actual assessment criteria. So within the learning organization, this is actually a learning organization that it has a firm belief and it recognizes the critical importance of continuous performance related training and development. So you'll know this as CPD, so continuous professional development. So this is where you're taking the appropriate action to make sure that you're continually improving your own performance and your own you're developing within your work. So the components of this are system thinking, mental models, shared vision, personal mastery, and team building. So there are differences between training, education, and development, and we'll just quickly go over what those are. So training is a short term, so it's task orientated, and you're just targeting on the factor that you're trying to achieve a change of attitude, or you're trying to achieve some skills or some knowledge in a specific area. So this is normally job related. Education is a lifetime investment. So this is normally initiated by yourself, and it's normally within an area that is of interest to you. And then development is a long-term investment. So you're spending a lot of time into developing your own human resources. So that was the difference between training, education, and development. Then we've got training and development. So training and development actually refers to a process where you're trying to transfer your skills, your knowledge, or your abilities, the things that you need to carry out towards a specific activity. So the human resources role in training and development are the following points here. So training for tasks leading to successful business operation, an in-depth understanding of the business environment, an insight regarding training and development options, career development approach to weld in individuals and groups into organizational effectiveness, and then knowledge sharing to improve customer service. And then we're going to look over the importance of training. So training actually helps you to maintain your qualified products or services, so you're maintaining your knowledge within that. It helps you to achieve high standards. You're able to provide information for newcomers, so you're departing your own knowledge and skills onto people who are joining your organization. It refreshes the memory for older employees or old employees. It helps you to achieve learning about new things, so you're able to learn about technology, products, new services, just different systems that you might have gone on to. Training also helps you to reduce mistakes, so you're cutting back costs. So you're not making as many mistakes, so it's not being as time consuming when you're trying to fix them. It gives the opportunity for staff to give feedback and also suggest improvements. And again, it improves communication and relationships. So this works towards teamwork. Now, there are 5 principles of learning. There's participation, repetition, relevance, transference, and feedback. So participation, it means when you're involving trainees and they're learning things by doing certain tasks, certain activities. Repetition is where you're repeating ideas and concepts and you're helping people to learn. Relevance is to learn better when material is meaningful and related. So if it actually relates to what topic you're doing, then that's relevance. Transference, to use real-world simulations, and feedback. So ask for feedback and adjust your methods according to the feedback that you've received. And then we've got concepts of global talent management. So talent management is an organization's commitment to recruit, hire, retain, and also develop the most talented, superior of employees available in the job market. So what they're doing is they're trying to attract the best employees towards themselves. So talent management, again, like we mentioned in our previous lessons, is a useful term when you're trying to get somebody to come in and you're hiring them. So we've got a few definitions on here. So talent management includes sourcing, screening, selection, retention, development and renewal of workforces with analysis and planning. So we mentioned a little bit of this in Learning Outcome 2 also. And then we've got this image here where it just shows the way that the organizations are within global talent management. So you've got talent acquisition sourcing, then performance management. So what you're doing is trying to get people that are through thorough onboarding, hard skill training, short-term productivity. So you're getting people to come into your workplace. Performance components, compensation and rewards. So you've got pay positioning and budgets, what sort of incentives you're getting. So this is a nice little image to look through. And now we'll make a start on assessment criteria 3.1. So this is to analyze different training and development approaches used by organizations to attract, develop, and improve individuals and teams. So there's a few training methods that can be used. So these are technology-based learning, simulators, so where you're actually simulating real work experiences, on-the-job training, coaching and mentoring, lectures, group discussions and tutorials, role-playing and management games. And we'll look at a few of these over the next few slides. So on-the-job training is, there are a few ways that you can actually do them. So you can just read the basic way, which is where you're going to read a manual or read the policies and things that are to do with the work, but it's quite time consuming and it's quite boring, but it's a fantastic way of gaining knowledge about what you're wanting to improve yourself on. You can actually do it through observation, so where you're shadowing someone, you're observing what they're doing, you're able to get explanations and you're able to practice what you're trying to go for. And then trainers will actually go through the job description with you and then explain the duties and answer your questions, so face to face. You can actually use the intranet so that any trainees that you have can post questions and then you're able to have them answered by experts. And then we've got on-the-job training, where it gives the employees the motivation to actually start the job. So you're able to learn more efficiently, you're hands-on, and rather than just sitting there and listening to a lecturer or an instructor telling you what the job is about, you're actually there, you're experiencing it for yourself. And you probably get excited about wanting to do the job then as well. Now, an example of on-the-job training is this. So, for example, new trucking employees can actually ride with experienced drivers. So they're able to ask questions about truckway stations, about proper highway speeds, and about picking up hitchhikers and any other issues that might arise. And they're getting straight-hand basic answers saying that this is what you're allowed to do, this is what you can and cannot do. And the fact is that they're sitting there and they're seeing how the experienced driver will actually work through his or her job. And then they can actually see, right, these are things that we can pick up as well. Then we've got coaching and mentoring. So this actually gives the employees a chance to actually get one-to-one training, so from experienced professionals. So there's 3 examples of coaching and mentoring. So you can either hire professional coaches or managers. You can set up formal mentoring programs between senior and junior managers. And you can also have less formal coaching. So you can have more experienced people teaching less experienced people. They just have where they're shadowing each other and they're talking and they're just basically there to answer questions. Then you've got coaching and mentoring. It actually gives the trainees the chance to ask questions and actually receive honest answers. So you can, if you're shadowing someone, if you've got a mentor that you're working one-to-one with, you're more comfortable, you're likely to be more comfortable to actually ask them questions. And they're most likely to actually give you an honest answer. If you're in a classroom full of, say, 20 to 30 new trainees, number one, you'll probably be shying away from asking a question because you don't want to feel dumb or silly. And unfortunately, that's just human nature. You don't really put your hand up as quick. And then you might not even get an honest answer from the trainer or the lecturer up at the podium. So this is a really nice way of actually getting an answer from somebody one-to-one. And then we've got technology-based learning. So this is quite common nowadays. So you've got basic PC programs. You've got interactive multimedia. So obviously using a laptop or a PC. Got interactive video. So you're using computers, obviously, when you're watching a video. You've got web-based training programs as well. So these forms of training that have got technology are almost unlimited. So a trainer also gets to learn more of the learner's involvement than in any other environment. And trainees also have the benefit of learning at their own pace. So a trainer can actually check how many times their trainee has logged on, how long they've been on. And then the trainee can actually be sitting at home in the morning, in the evening, whenever they've got free time, and they can actually just access that training and do it within their own time. So an example of this is, again, within the trucking industry. is that in the trucking industry, one can imagine interactive multimedia training on tractor trailers followed by a proficiency test, so to see how well the employee knows the truck. So they're carrying out tests, they're able to do training on the PC or the laptop, and they're able to get proficient in to see how well they know how a truck works and if they know all the systems that need to be used. So that was AC 3.1. We're going to go on to AC 3M1. This is the merit assessment criteria. So 3M1, assess the effect of incentives and rewards on the development of individuals and teams. So we're going to look at motivation here. So motivation, it refers to the initiation, direction, and intensity of the persistence of behavior. So we've also got incentives on the other hand, and they're designed to influence your motivation and the behavior of individuals. So incentive systems are a combination of several or more less coherent incentives. So an incentive is something where, you know, if I do this task, this is what I'll get out of it. And motivators actually include purposive incentives. So in the above sense, you've got all the external factors which can actually impact on people's or your own motivation and also the organization's motivation. So it's actually motivating you to complete a certain task within a timely manner. Now you've got extrinsic and intrinsic rewards. So just as a quick recap, extrinsic is outer, intrinsic is inner. So intrinsic rewards are rewards that a person rewards to themselves. So they're personally driven towards their own motivational rewards, and it's something that they give to yourself. They've got a personal attachment to what they're getting. So for example, we've got an example of a graphic designer who works, who took a work where the designer can learn a lot. So when the designer finishes the work with all the troubles and successes in, the designer has learned the work which the person can use in any other works. So what they've done is they've gone through a process, they've gone through the trouble of designing a particular thing, and now they've gained the knowledge that they can apply to other jobs. So the designer is self-motivated, and they want to actually fulfill the work without any problems. So this is self-serving, and when they're finished, they're actually getting full satisfaction, and this is classically intrinsic motivation and rewards. It's that satisfaction you feel, that happiness you feel when you've completed something that's very difficult. So extrinsic, remember outer, so extrinsic rewards are rewards from the organization to the employee, so external rewards. So this is generally when a person actually completes the organization works within a time scale and they're given a reward or an incentive for that. So this reward is normally tangible, and it actually drives the employee to work better. So the employee would certainly abide by the guidelines and would finish the work and would try to achieve that reward. So for example, in my very younger days, I used to work in a photography shop. This is when I was in my teens. And at that time, we just had basic when we were making sales and so on. We didn't really count anything towards the sales. We weren't driven. We were just doing basic work. But then they introduced a reward system where you would receive high street vouchers. So the more you were to sell, the higher the value the high street vouchers would be. And this actually drove us on. Within myself, it actually motivated me to make more sales because I knew that I would get a reward where I was going to get paid anyway because that was the terms of the work. And number two, I was going to get an extra incentive where I was getting these high street vouchers and I could go out and I could buy whatever I want. So as a teenager at that time, that was fantastic motivator, and it really drove my sales up, and I was actually excelling quite a lot. And rewards like these actually make you work towards, gaining that outward. So the aims of reward management. So the reward system, it should actually satisfy the goals associated with the strategy of an organization. So they should be attractive and cost-effective and fair. There's lots of variations, but you can have components that maybe are fixed, variable, or indirect awards. So the objective of reward management is to reward employees fairly, equitably, and consistently in correlation to the value of these individuals. So the reward system may actually exist in order to motivate, like I was saying with the example I used from myself in my younger days. You're actually motivating your employees towards achieving strategic goals. So at that time, the company was happy because their sales were being driven up. As an employee, I was happy because I was getting an extra reward of vouchers. So we're going to go through the aims of reward management. So this is to reward people according to what the organization's values are and what they want to pay. Reward people for the value they create. Reward the right things to convey the right message. Develop a performance culture. Motivate people, and this will actually help you to obtain their commitment and engagement at work. Help to attract and retain high quality people within your organization. And then develop a positive employment relationship and a psychological contract. So when you're aligning rewards with business goals and employee values, as Duncan Brown says, this emphasizes the alignment of your reward practices with employee values and need is every bit as important as alignment with business goals and critical to realization of the latter. So in the end, you've got to operate fairly so that people feel that they're being treated fairly and in accordance to what is due to them and due to their value towards the organization. And then apply equitably. So people are rewarded appropriately, so in relation to what they're actually doing for the organization. So it's something that is a relative between your job and also what the organization wants. So it should be as objective as possible and it should be equal for everybody. So function consistently. So decisions on pay do not vary arbitrarily and without due cause. So, you need to be consistent with what you're doing. So operate transparently so people understand how reward processes operate and how they're affected by them. So they know exactly how to get towards those rewards and what the best way is to do it. Now we've got another image on here. This shows the reward management systems and the elements and interrelationships. Now you'll see there's two blue colors here. There's a lighter blue and there's a darker blue. In the lighter blue, this is what you're putting in. So it's the business and HR strategy is working towards a reward strategy. And then in the darker blue, you've got job evaluation, grade and pay structure, market rate analysis, contingent pay, employee benefits, allowances, performance management, and non-financial rewards. Now, all of these things are going in towards the rewards. So from there, you're getting total remuneration and then total reward. And then the components of total reward, you've got transactional rewards, which are base pay, contingent pay, and employee benefits, and that works towards total remuneration. Then you've got relational rewards, which are learning and development and the work experience. And that's non-financial intrinsic rewards. That's what you're feeling in it. And all of that together works towards the same outcome, which is total reward. So a total reward approach is holistic. So holistic is when you're looking at everything around you. It's everything involved. So reliance is not placed on one or two reward mechanisms operating in isolation. It's actually rewarded throughout everything together. So this is where people can be rewarded and they're actually obtaining their own satisfaction throughout the work. So there's a job satisfaction. They're happy to be there. So the aim is to maximize the combined impact of a wide range of reward initiatives on motivation, commitment, and job engagement. So all of these reward systems, extrinsic or intrinsic, they actually work towards you being happy and engaged and motivated within your work. And then we've got the Towers Perrin model of total reward. Now, the upper two sections actually reflect on your pay and your benefits. So these are financial, and they're essential to actually get you to recruit and to keep staff. Now, the bottom two sections, quadrants, they're actually about the value of that. So this is where the real power actually comes in, which is where the learning and development and work environment comes into play. So this is where your organization is combining relational and transactional rewards. So you've got transactional and relational at the bottom here, then individual and communal over here, and then these four quadrants are telling you the benefits of each. So here is an example of a healthy pay for performance strategy. So this table is actually showing you what sort of is a good pay strategy for here. So you've got things like category performance measures and basis for rewards. Then you've got functional leaders, so level of contribution towards the corporate goals and milestone rewards. You've got economic values, key performance indicators. It's a nice one just to have a little look through. And now we'll make our way towards 3D1. So 3D1 is assess the contribution of the application of motivational theories on the development of individual and teams. So we're just going to look at a few different theories in this section. So to actually be in a position to motivate people, you actually need to understand what actually motivates them in the first place. So once you've got that down, then you'll know how to get them to work towards the goals. So these are some factors and examples of how people can be motivated. So recognizing their ability, sense of achievement, learning and growth, stimulating work, responsibility and empowerment, promotion, and feeling of being a part of something. So we've got Hertzberg's two-factor theory. So Hertzberg believes that being a successful business leader, it actually involves a lot more than just making good products or understanding the market, that you actually need to be able to motivate and inspire your employees as well. So if we refer to this image here, we've got a few arrows going upwards and a few arrows going downwards. So we've got motivators and demotivators. So in the green, the motivators are advancement, the work itself, responsibility, achievement, growth, and recognition. And then demotivators are the policies, the quality of the leadership, pay, relationships, work conditions, status, and security. So Hertzberg actually believes that there are two factors within his theory are motivation and hygiene. So motivation factors are things like receiving recognition for your efforts, enjoying your work, and actually having a career path. And hygiene factors are things like your salary, the benefits, and the relationships that you have with your co-workers and your managers. So the two factors that are applied in the workplace through comprehensive salary and benefits program, so it develops team building workshops and it creates way to recognize good performances. So you've got to be competitive when you're recruiting, so you can motivate people to stay and also to remain loyal. So what that means is you're not just hiring anybody that's just applied. You might have had a job position open and only 1 or 2 people have applied. You don't have to hire them. You need to hire the best people. So re-advertise and just wait. Then we've got Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So we've looked at Maslow a few times before. So Maslow actually believes that you need to meet the basic needs of the employees. So you're meeting their psychological well-being, their safety, belonging, and esteem. So to apply this at work, managers actually need to implement a diversity in training and programs. So they need to actually celebrate the differences in people. So there's not just clear-cut training. You need to actually include the diversity of the people that you've got within your workplace. Safety issues, obviously they're governed by law. So, but when managers actually take an extra effort and look at things like desk ergonomics, or making sure that you've got comfortable seating, you've got a decent tea and coffee system where you're able to have a good break, it actually makes the employees' morale lift. They actually feel that they're getting looked after. And then again, employees need to be respected by managers and also their co-workers on a daily basis. So workers should be able to develop an action plan for personal success. So be respectful, make sure you're taking care of your employees. And then we've got the Hawthorn effect on productivity. So Hawthorn's theory is productivity based, as we just indicated here. So it works on the physical conditions that the employee is actually working. So this is things like lighting, the shifts, how long they are, breaks, and it also includes observations, so as a key motivator for performance. So Hawthorn actually found that people were more productive based on their idea of being observed rather than changes in their physical working conditions. So as a manager, you can observe employees either physically or through consistent reporting. So it's good to know that if people actually know that someone is watching you, or they're going to randomly check on your work, they're actually a little bit more consistent and the productivity will increase. And then we go on to the expectancy theory of performance. So this expectancy theory, it simply states that people will perform based on what they expect the result will be. So the three elements are expectancy, instrumentality, and balance. So this theory actually states that the employee will work towards a believed achievement if the achievement will actually give them a reward, and the reward is something that they actually value. So managers can actually set the tone for achievement and rewards within their employee and the recognition, depending on what their employees actually value. So an example of this could be earning a company parking spot or having an employee of the month. And then finally, we have attribution theory and response to success or failure. So attribution theory actually refers to how people respond to their own successes or their failures. So when you look at the reasons behind the end results, employees actually are able to identify why they succeeded or failed at something. So this is implemented through employee reviews, and it actually covers a few metrics and it identifies root causes. So an example of this is when one employee is meeting their sales numbers, but they're making 50 outbound calls per day. But then there's another employee who is not meeting all their standards, but they're only making 10 outbound calls a day. So the success and failure for this particular situation is that that employee who's not meeting their targets realizes that they're not making enough phone calls, that they've upped their outbound calls, they'd probably have a better chance at meeting their successes. So the second employee, the one that's not meeting their standards, they know that they've got an adjustment that can be made, and that will actually hopefully drive them towards success. So this was it for learning outcome 3. Just have a quick recap of what we looked at. So we looked at 3.1, analyze the different training and development approaches. So training and development. 3M1, assess the effective incentive and rewards. So that was where we looked at the incentives and rewards for employees. And then 3D1, what we just looked at was the theories. So assess the contribution of application of motivational theories. So thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next session.